And we're live.
I'd like to see Balboa do something completely different. He's always fighting. He's always training fighters. What if what if fighting wasn't good enough? What if he couldn't solve the problem with his hands? What if he had to pick up a gun?
Finally,
what if he had to
Balboa
escalate
goes to law
things?
school?
No, Balboa's not going to law school. No, man.
So
didn't teach me nothing about no briefs. Like, no. He picks up a gun and has to go on a shooting rampage. I'd rather see that.
It seems like your things, like your problems with entertainment, are all solved by just giving the character a gun. Like, I don't like Daredevil, let's just give him a gun. I don't like Rocky, let's just give him a gun.
Problems in life are solved if you just have a gun.
I see. No, for me, it's just sort of I'm just messing with you. But no, and I like what in the chat. Yeah, it's kind of like Rambo. That's what Rambo is. So Stallone is that's like Rocky. Grew some hair, went through a war in Vietnam, and now he's got a gun.
What you pointed out something pretty telling there about all movies and entertainment, though, and that's that I think two pieces of technology completely change almost every story, narrative, movie, whatever you want to call it, and that's the cell phone and the gun. Because those are the great equalizers that mankind have come up with, I think. The cell phone means I can get backup. From anywhere and everywhere, I can get backup. You don't just have to mess with me anymore. You might have to mess with all of us now. And go ahead.
So many movie plots are based on like missed connections or miscommunication, and the cell phone changes.
Romeo and Juliet? Yeah. It's over in 3 minutes.
All of Seinfeld.
Right?
They're on Tinder. Like, it's over, you know?
Yeah. If suddenly everyone can send text messages or phone calls to each other and they all have these devices in there, that girl dies in Taken with no cell phone. Yeah, it's interesting. So now, of course, plots have adapted. But yeah, if you put a cell phone in, everyone can communicate and everyone can Google and all that stuff. It changes a ton of movies. And
then the gun, I feel like, equalizes virtually every situation. Like how many movies rely on the device that the person, the enemy that we're dealing with, we just can't physically overcome it. Think about like Cujo. Like, we're just trapped in a car because there's a big Saint Bernard outside, right? Cujo comes, you just fucking shoot Cujo, and you get out of the car, and then your little kid's not dying of dehydration. You're not. No, then you don't have to deal with a slobbering Saint Bernard hand to hand because that's absurd.
Sure.
All of the slasher
movie would be boring as fuck.
All of the slasher movies. Every movie character a gun and a cell phone. It'd be hard to manufacture a problem they couldn't escape. Like, absolutely. Even the guys in Saw, where it's like, oh, we're gonna, chop your head off if you don't do this intense. Oh, well, I got a gun and a cell phone. The police are on the way. That's it. Oh, you gave me 40 minutes. I'll tell them to stop and get an energy drink on the way.
I kind of like it because it's sort of like when I see movies like that, it reminds me the things I take for granted, Because I grew up without the internet. I grew up without a cell phone, and these are all I'm part of the last generation, and so I think some of you guys are pretty much close to my age too, right? I'm 28.
29.
Okay, yeah. So we're like the last generation that grew up without the internet. Like all the kids nowadays, they were born the internet. It's the thing, and so when I see movies like that where a character is stuck in a situation like Cujo, it just reminds me, like, I kind of take for granted the fact that I have this thing right here that can just access anything. Like earlier, for instance, how tall is Hulk Hogan? How tall is Hulk Hogan? Oh, he's 6'7". And it's funny because, like, I remember back in the day when I would have to physically go to a library or something to do research for like a school project.
About Hulk Hogan's height, yeah.
Of course. All I could do was watch my 240p television with like the bunny antennas and look at Hulk Hogan and guess that he's probably
a lot of geometry work sitting there, taking account of like the weird meniscus shape on the front.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I keep going back to the gun thing because I have a lot of guns. It's kind of like part of my lifestyle and stuff. But so I'm willing to put that aside. But when I watch a movie where I'm trying to think, any slasher movie, any issue where there are bad guys coming to our house to hurt us, and that's an issue for some reason, and also any movie where, like, for whatever reason, they've decided that we can't kill the enemy, we just have to, like, knock them unconscious, like in Iron Man 2, or was it? No, it's Iron Man 3, when for some reason he's building like a taser zap gun instead of just going and getting a Smith & Wesson. Like, he's fighting terrorists. Why is he making a taser zap gun?
That
Why does he
fool
need to
brought
build
a
his own
zap gun to a gunfight.
It didn't make any sense.
Who brings
it was
a
absurd.
chainsaw to a gunfight? Kyle's gonna win all these movies.
Every one of them. Any movie where the bad guy doesn't have a gun, I win. All of them.
I like
100% of the time.
So is that the reason that you've said before, I think I'm getting this right, that you're not afraid of movies where it's like, oh, Mr. Jenkins gone crazy. He's out there with the scythe. He's going to get us. You're afraid
Bring
of
it
movies.
on, Mr. Jenkins.
Yeah, Mr. Jenkins.
Bring it on.
You're not
I've
worried
been
about him
waiting
at all.
on you.
You've piled up all your clothes as a makeshift barricade in front of the door, just in case.
But your clothing
I
is a
spend my
barricade?
afternoon shooting silhouettes of
It's
Mr.
like piles
Jenkins.
of
I've been
underwear and
waiting for
dirty
this day
socks.
for years.
But